Hello and welcome back to Dark Souls. I'm your host Spirit Bounceholder, and I haven't recorded in a long time. And the reason for that is rather unpleasant. Um, my microphone, including my headset, quite expensive, broke down only a few months after I purchased them. And since it was the holiday season, it took some extra time before a replacement one could be sent over here. But we're all good now. So I can record again, yay. The only other issue is knowing that I would not be able to upload, but still wanting to play Dark Souls because I just felt like it. I made a backup of my save file and I messed up the way how I backed it up. So as a result, I was unable to get back the same playthrough that I had started with you guys. So instead I did a new, from the beginning, a new playthrough with a new character. And I believe I'm about at the same point as where I used to be. We have got the S-Stock again, we have got the heal spell just now, and we're level 14. These are the stats. About the same really, only we started this time as deprived, because I just feel that Deprived goes through the early phases of the game the quickest and the most efficient, because it has a few levels on the other characters and in general is perfectly balanced in every way possible, so you can really shape it the way you want it. So yeah, I recorded the speedrun, or well, depending on what you call speedrun, but here's the catch-up of how I got to this point. Alright, welcome back. So, now you've seen the vast bulk of all I've done to create this character. Really wasn't too much of an issue except being a bit sloppy. Was a lot quicker than the first time, obviously, because without commentary and without having to listen to everything I've already heard 1,000 times, things just tend to go a bit faster. Anyway, yeah, I've grinded a bit off camera to to make sure that I could get a heal spell, because that's where we left off last time. But apart from the heal spell and having Estok again, I'm not entirely sure if we can follow the same build path that I had envisioned with the Wanderer, because we started off with a club and it does a lot more damage than I had expected in the first instance. Also, it does strike damage, which is very good against certain defense types. So it is definitely something I am very glad to have, and I think that by using a bit more balanced build, it can be a bit more fun for everyone. So I have invested a bit more in strength as well this time, but other than that, there's no massive difference. But anyway, let's go and... Well, we have the Estok now, so let's go and see if we can kill Havel. Oh, one last thing. The armor I have obviously is not the same as the Wanderer, because the price starts without any armor. So I had to buy this, as you, I'm sure you have seen. That was a bit disappointing, but... Or that's always a bit disappointing about the deprived, but at the same time... He makes up for it. He really does make up for it. Especially early game. It doesn't really matter too much yet what kind of armor you have, because the normal enemies don't have things like specific damage types that need to be counted in some way or another. So most of the time, there's really no need to worry. So yeah, going against Havel. Not sure if that is going to be doable yet, but I am actually somewhat curious, because I said last time that I would defeat him with the Estok, because it is a thrusting weapon and it is quite effective against armor, and that isn't entirely true. I figured out actually in retrospect. It isn't specifically all that great against armor, but it has a significant bonus to its backstab damage. And its backstab damage is basically the thing that you will be most reliant on when fighting Havel. But seeing as how the club was actually quite effective, I mean, just take for example this guy, just one hit, dead, no problem, one hit, done. And being a striking weapon, meaning blunt force, that should, in theory, work quite well against Havel. So I'm not sure if we can beat him with the Estok, but maybe if we can't beat him with the Estok, we can actually beat him with the club. Quite literally. Oh, and that's right. I haven't explained much about the poise system yet, I believe. Basically, I've just told you that I don't know actually if I don't recall if I told you, but the poise in the game, the system of poise, which is represented here, that literally it says ability to receive attacks without breaking form. It does exactly what it says, but with this armor we actually have a bit more poise. And the club does a lot of poise damage, meaning that it is very effective at breaking defenses. It is very effective at breaking guards. So somebody runs around with a shield up. If you're lucky, you can simply break through that shield without having to worry. Just to show it off, I already tested it on these guys. I believe you already seen it very fast, but there you go. One hit and they already break guard. Another hit and they both die. Alright. So yeah, that is quite useful, that's quite effective. but at the same time it does require me to two-hand the club, because one-handing it significantly reduces the damage. And that is that's actually something that you will find is quite uncommon, but it makes total sense if you think about it. The club is a strength-based weapon. It literally only scales with strength, as you can see here. It gets a parent bonus, so it shows there that it has a scaling for strength. And it only scales off of strength. It is purely a strength weapon. The more strength you have, the more damage you do. End of story. That's just the way the club works. So, the way two-handing works is it actually improves the amount of strength you have for that specific weapon you're two-handing. So basically, instead of striking now with my normal strength, I strike with, I believe, 1.5 times my strength. So that's 150% strength I have when wielding this club, which is about just under 20 points of strength. And 20 points of strength is quite strong, actually, especially early in this game. So to wield a club two-handed is very, very much stronger than to just one-handed. There you go. That's why the guards break so easy, because basically we're constantly hitting them with a blunt force weapon that has 20 strength on it. Oh, and we also still need to beat the Black Knight. Maybe that's actually a better thing to start with. The Black Knight I found is slightly, ever so slightly easier to beat. So, can use the heal spell to make sure we start off with full health. I'm just not entirely sure how I want to fight him, given that my shield is not optimal. I'm not sure if a club is super effective against him, so... it does decent damage. It does break his guard actually, which is somewhat surprising. Come on. Ah! Crap. He does a lot of damage. The only issue is, last time I actually recorded one more episode with my other character, but I figured that since basically I already knew I couldn't get back the character, I figured I'd just ignore that footage. I can still upload it if people really want to, but in truth we're not going to continue with it anymore, and it's not really going to matter too much. But I actually beat him already with I believe it was using just mostly backstabs against him. It was actually very, very easy to do, surprisingly enough. Might be because I was rolling with light armor, which gives me significantly more range when rolling. But gosh darn! Oh, there you go. But yeah, I don't know if we can actually do that again now that we have medium armor, and basically the only alternative is to wear no armor, which I'd rather not do when fighting someone like a Black Knight. This shows off perfectly how the heal spell can be very, very useful in the early game. Because the moment you get a rest, the moment you can just relax and sit down and don't have to worry about an enemy approaching you, you can just take a heal from the spell and you won't have to worry about it consuming your Estus. Meaning that if in combat you ever really need to heal quickly, you can use your Estus because it's always going to be faster. Definitely something to consider. Always try to use your heal spell instead of your normal Estus whenever you have the opportunity, whenever you truly have the time for it. I might want to try it with the S-Dog actually. the damage is significantly less, but the range is higher. So that does make it easier in that respect. I might want to try and parry him actually, because that's also something that I did last time, I believe. That would give us a very significant bonus. Ah, his range is so significant. But I'm luring him out now. I'm actually luring him over to up here, where we have a nice space to fight him. Already used that place multiple times to fight him, because it's simply actually a rather nice arena to fight him in. I wanted to roll there, but there you go. A backstab, and we can heal now. We're back in the game. Now I want to try a backstab with the club as well and see if it actually matters. Dang. Come on. Shit. Oh, that's... Oh, there we go. And it does less damage. Okay, that's good to know. That means that it is not worth to fight him with the club, despite it doing more damage when just getting a free hit off. You might be a bugger, but he also leaves himself open a bit too much. Like that. There you go. There you go. And the Black Knight Sword! Oh, I am really happy about that. I am really happy about getting the Black Knight Sword. Because they actually have a secret trait about them. There's actually something secret about them that I really am glad to have them for. Because we go over to the Black Knight Sword. It's a great sword. It's very heavy. It requires 20 strength and 18 dexterity, which means we are still a long way away from being able to wield it. But despite that, I have wielded it before, and despite being a great sword and a bit clumsy actually, it has a trait that I really love about the sword, because it actually does bonus damage against one specific enemy type, and it is not listed anywhere that it does bonus damage, but repeatedly people have tried it out, people have tested it, and it's simply a cast iron fact. This sword does bonus damage against demons, and we have a few demons that we still want to fight, a few boss demons in fact. And using heavy weapons against bosses is generally always an issue. Not always clever, but it is always an option. So it might, especially with the Stray Demon, the one back at the Asylum where we will return to. I fought him before with the Greatsword, with the Black Knight Greatsword, and it is quite effective. The only thing that I am unsure about is if by the time that we actually are going to fight him, fight a Stray Demon, if we don't already have something better, because I have something specific in mind. I already played onwards after I was unable to upload. I actually ran all the way to Anor Londo. People who have played the game will know where Anor Londo is. And I used the strongest dexterity weapon in the game. And you might say, well, there's no such thing as the strongest weapon in Dark Souls, and that's a great part true. But there is a weapon that does objectively the most damage in most cases of the game, and that's the dexterity weapon. It's the strongest dex weapon. And oh, I have no idea how you hit me with that. I have no idea why he rolled like that. Oh well, but anyway. I want to go and eventually pick up the Great Scythe, because I always was a big fan of the Halberd, and at some point I wanted to start a dex build. And I was wondering what the best dexterity weapons were. So I looked it up, and it turns out that the Great Scythe, which is a helmet class weapon, is actually the strongest, the most damage dealing weapon, most damage dealing dexterity weapon in the game. So that actually turned out quite perfectly for me, really. The only real issue that I have with it is the fact that we need to go to the catacombs to get it. And its stat requirements are a bit on the high side, but considering all it gives you in return, that is hardly going to be an issue in the long run. There we go. So the Great Scythe is basically exactly what you would expect of it. It's just a big farmer scythe, making you look like the freaking Reaper. It's quite badass, but it's also it can be a bit awkward to wield because of it being a helmet class weapon. If you miss with its swings, you actually get, well, not exactly staggered, but it takes you longer time to recover from the swing than with other weapons. You can see that too with the club, because if I hit them, I recover quickly. But just watch carefully. You see him doing that extra step forward, that extra move, like, oh, it's slipping forward a bit. And that actually does contribute to the combat, because it is so small, it is so narrowly timed that even that very tiny gap that you leave open can make the difference between just being completely exploited, being taken down completely, or not having to worry about anything at all, and just being able to just fight as you normally would. It's not an issue with most dexterity builds, really, because most dexterity builds rely on the shorter and faster weapons, which will be my sidearm. I will get the second best dexterity weapon eventually as my sidearm, and that is a katana. the Uchi katana, I believe it was. The Uchi katana. I would pick the Iaito. That's the other alternative weapon. I'll show that off too when we come across it. It's quite a bit off, and people know the Iaito. It's a really badass weapon because of its fighting style, but it lacks that specific thrust attack that I value so dearly with Uchi katana. And I know it might sound like gibberish, but that's because I know very little Japanese or about how to pronounce those things, and because, well, it are Japanese weapons. It is weapon in Dark Souls. It are katanas, and in general are, for us Westerlings, very awkward names to pronounce. There we go. That's alright. I showed them off, and I know that a lot of people will love. I wanted to roll. A lot of people will love those weapons because it is katanas. People love katanas. What can I say about it? I love them. Most people love them. The only drawback that is very significantly present in this game with the katanas, with all the katanas, with in fact most Eastern-based weapons that you will find in this game, are that the durability is quite low. And generally that's not too much of an issue. In Dark Souls 2 that can become an issue because the durability works differently there, but in Dark Souls 1 you can repair your weapon at every bonfire if you're clever about it, and you will rarely be forced to truly retreat because your weapon is getting broken. Not only that, but I believe that with the DLCs that you will find in Prepare to Die edition, which is the PC edition, having already got all the DLCs for the game, that there is a repair spell somewhere. So, if you only master a bit of sorcery, you can already just repair your weapon in mid-fight, and, well, mid-fight I would not recommend, but like you would use to heal, just as a preparational step for combat. I'm gonna try Havel one more time, and if I again fail miserably like last 2 times, then we'll just move on. There's plenty more to do still. And I really want to beat Havel though. I might do him off camera if I don't manage to do it. Because he drops a very specific ring that I really want to have. Havel's ring is one of my most valued rings in the game. And everybody, especially the quote-unquote new players like I am, will know what it is, what it does, and why you want to have it. Because in principle it only increases your carry weight. That's all. It only increases your carry weight. Does nothing else. Not useful for anything other than that. But it gives such a huge benefit. Come on, Havel. I hoped we could dodge that one. I was really taking a gamble with that one to exist on purpose, not dodge. There we go. Yeah, take a bit of distance. Otherwise we can't backstab him. Here we go. Okay, come on guy. Give me another swing. Take a swing, bro. There you go. Oh. You can get punished so easily by Havel. But that, yeah, it's quite obvious really why. Ooh. There we go. Slowly gaining a bit of health. There we go. Chipping down at him. Just keep backstabbing. And be sure to two-hand your weapon because I forgot to actually back there. And if you don't two-hand your S-Stock, that's not the biggest of deals because the S-Stock doesn't benefit too much from strength, as I already explained about two-handing. But every little bit counts, and you're not going to be blocking his attacks with your shield, so you might as well just two-hand the S-Stock and get those few points of extra damage in there. There we go, already halfway done. That's basically how you have to fight him. Just poke him down, and eventually he'll actually go down. But it is... Ah! I rolled too early. Quite a chore. But yeah, again, we lose nothing from fighting him. In fact, we gain mostly from it because to get to him we have to grind through these little guys over here. So we actually get a little bit of extra, a few extra souls for it, simply to get to him. And that's another thing about the game. I already explained that Dark Souls really isn't the hardest game in the world, despite people saying it's a masochistic game and people really should not play it unless they enjoy also failing. But truth of the matter really is just, if you just want something and you don't mind the fact that you have to try multiple times to get it, just to attempt those things, you will be grinding. And if you grind, well, everybody knows what happens when you grind. It's hella boring, but you will also get a lot of stuff you need from it. So basically, simply by wanting to kill Havel and by working our way over to his place every time, we get about 1,000 souls. And 1,000 souls isn't much, but especially early game, it is quite significant. It really helps. Because I believe I need just over 1,000 souls and I can get another level. Now the price of leveling of course increases the more you level, but regardless. There you go. We already have we have 7,000 souls. We started off with basically 0 souls when I began recording. And now we already have 7,000, and that is basically simply because we grinded down those little guys constantly. It's not like I beat any bosses or anything. The only guy that was big that I beat was the Black Knight, and I believe he only gives 1,000 souls. So we got 6,000 souls simply from grinding now. I'm wondering. Here we fought the Taurus Demon. Are those guys still over there? Yeah, those guys are still over there. I don't believe we can cross the bridge because of the Hellkite Drake, but... Oh, that's another thing. We should actually... we should go and torment the Hellkite Drake. Well, let's see. It's kind of funny. He wasn't there just now when we were crossing the walkway up there. And now he's suddenly standing over here, watching over the bridge, as if he's been doing that the entire time. I do want him to spit his fire though. There we go. And that's why. That's 3 souls right there. There always spawn a couple of hollows, and you can simply, by baiting the Hellkite Drake, you can simply kill them all in one fell swoop and get about 500 souls from it every time you do it. Very nice way to grind if you are really stuck on something early game. So what do we want for now? I want to get my endurance up. I want to get my stamina up to 100. I think that's a rather nice number, especially early game. My fate is fine the way it is. Vitality I don't intend to spend much on, so let's do the remainder in dexterity. I think that should be good. Might make sure that the S-Stock starts doing some proper damage as well. Well, not yet, at least. What was the scaling again for the S-Stock? It was a D on strength and a C on dexterity. It's not great, but it's a thrusting weapon. It's one of the earliest thrusting weapons you can get. In fact, it is the earliest thrusting weapon you can get, and actually a very nice one in the way it works. But yeah, the nicest thing about the S-Stock is definitely his reach. It's very, very long, almost like a spear, like a short spear. And especially if you do this two-handed strong attack, that's just a long-range thrust. Not much is going to get out of your reach that way. They might evade it, but they won't get out of your reach. And if that's not enough to make you happy, then simply consider the fact that we can hold a shield up and poke the enemy. Of course he has a shield, so I want to kick him off. There we go. Oh, that's maybe something also nice to explain. Something the tutorial bit is not entirely clear on. But you have your her L1, so that's your light attack. You have your trigger one. I believe that's R1. That's a strong attack. Basically, that switches up a weapon. So with the S-Dog, it's that sweeping strike, or if you do it with two-handed, it's that thrusting strike. But there are also two ones that use button combinations, and one of them is push forward and then light attack. And in the S-Dog, that becomes a backstab attack. Yeah, a backstab, but without stabbing in the back. You know, how should I say that? It's just a defensive thrust. But the normal one, which the club for example has, most weapons use the standard one, and that's the kick. And the kick is purely used for breaking guards. It does no damage, but it pushes people back and it breaks their guards. Very nice, really. And you have the jumping attack, and that's the strong attack. There you go. So that's just push forward, strong attack, and you do a jumping attack. And it really is dependent on the weapon you use, how you want to use those techniques. But they can be a massive lifesaver. Definitely, if you consider the amount of cliffs and hide places and death traps in this game, you can very easily kick or push people around into those traps. It's both very useful in PvP as well as in PvE. Never underestimate that simple kick. Also never underestimate the normal backstab. Just like that. Nice thing also is that you can follow it up with a light attack, and it changes what kind of attack you do. So if I do a backstab with this one, it actually looks pretty much like a heavy attack, but it is just a light attack. It's just the way that because you follow it up after a backstab, that you can that you do something different, something unique. Same also goes for rolling. I wanted to do that a bit quicker, but oh well. Jerk. Everybody who heals with Estus except you is always a jerk. Everybody knows that. In PvP, if somebody goes healing with Nestus Flask, it just always pisses you off. And everybody knows it pisses people off. Oh dear. Yep, he stopped. He's a big guy. I know. In fact, he's quite a bugger in every way of the word, every sense of the word. But he has, how should I say, a very stupid AI weakness in it. And that is that he does not want to go beyond this gate. With some exceptions. But he will return now again. He will start just walking back, walking back. I actually want... There you go. Backstab him. I know it's a bit gross to literally stab him in the butt. But yeah, that's his weakness. Actually, later once, you will encounter this guy later. And they will actually have patched up that little hole. Looks really silly. But they actually removed that little weakness that you encounter only with this one. This one doesn't respawn either. So it's a bit of a one-time, oh dear, opportunity to truly stab a boar in the butt. Gosh darn it. It's so annoying if they headshot you. But yeah. There you go. And there you go. I haven't been parrying all that much actually. Come on guy. To parry you. There you go. Why? Just because we can. Well, not just because we can. We also get a bit of extra souls because of overkill. Now I don't recall if I explained overkill in the last episode or in the would-be next episode. But yeah. I'll just give you a short version then. Basically, if you do 1.5 times the damage that is required to kill someone, kill an opponent, then you get extra souls for it. Get 20% extra bonus souls for it. So if I have 100 health and you hit me with 150 damage, then you will get extra souls for it. There you go. Should be able to run through here, I think. Shouldn't be too hard, but yeah. Mystery key. What was that mystery key again? I forgot what the mystery key was for. Oh well. We'll eventually encounter the door and we'll just open it. Many people might wonder how to get here. It's just walking across the beams. First time I played it, I was like standing on the edge and I was like, how the hell, oops, am I supposed to get there? Well, just walk across the beam. Dark Souls is very, it has no invisible walls that protect you from falling, but it is rather generous in the way you can stand on a lot of stuff. In fact, you are forced to do so in a later stage near Anor Londo. And here we get an enemy I really do not like. Oh well, I like them. I like those guys, but I don't like this variant of it. Because this is one that fights with the rapier. And the rapier fighters are a bit dickish. Well, that did more damage than I expected. Saves us the trouble. Night shield, yes. Do we have... Can we... Ah, I might be over... Yep, that overweights. That's a shame. That's a shame. That's why I want the Havel ring, because I could simply wield that with no problems then. But we're stuck with the wooden shield for now. We'll get a better shield the moment we get to the next bonfire though. Ooh. There you go. Because we will actually get a rather light shield. Or we can just pick up a Hollow Soldier shield, that's an option too. The Hollow Soldier shield is a bit lighter, but it gives equal amount of protection. In fact, it gives slightly more protection in almost every way. It is lighter, it is more durable. It only does less attack damage. Well, attacking with a shield you can do that, but it's not something you will do. It's really not something that's going to happen, really. So you don't need to worry about it. But I like the Hollow Soldier shield. And we can still use it. There you go. Now we got the full protection. We can just hold up our shield, and as long as we got stamina, we'll be protected from any and all damage that is physical. I'm luring this guy out. And I'm luring him out very persistently. I'm not stepping through that doorway. I'm not exiting this little hallway. Because there's another well, actually we can do that now, but there's a knight. Oh, right there. And they would get you in a pincer attack you do not want to be in. There we go. Smack him in the face. You really don't want to be in that pincer attack. I've been there multiple times already because I got careless, and even experienced players will be in big trouble if they can't just retreat back into this hallway. You just got to lure them out. It's the safest way to do it. And let's pick up an old friend of mine. An open door, actually. Hello, buddy. Basement key. That one is useful. And we open the door. But we don't need to go through there yet. There's no one there anyway, we already killed them. Just gives us a nice little shortcut. Anti-halberd. Good old friend of mine. Used to have a lightning halberd the first time I played the game through. The first time I actually managed to finish it. It's got a bit more strength requirement than we have. We have 13 and it requires 16. It is overall quite a nice weapon to use, really. Because it combines a bit of the spear's range with a quite firm attack that is not only pierce damage based. Oh dear, where the hell did you come from? Oh, you of course were triggered already. In that building we passed by, that we are now walking around, basically there were some of those guys. I thought I did not trigger them yet, but... No, roll other way, there you go. Now we're too low and they are too close to heal properly, so... Alright, there we go. Ah! That I do not like. But now I'm very glad that I opened that shortcut, because we have a long way to go back there. That's something that actually was removed in Dark Souls 2 and is still present in Dark Souls 1. If you get hit, but you've already pressed the attack button, you will attack after you recover from that staggering from that first attack. And that would not be an issue, were it not that that is a perfect way to get yourself horribly killed. Because now you don't only have to wait for the staggering to end before you can defend yourself. You actually have to wait until your attack is done as well. And that is quite horrible. That is quite horrible indeed. But again, a little bit of grinding never hurts. And actually we get the chance to fight another Balder Sword. Or a Balder Knight. Which were those new knights we encountered. The Balder Knights drop my previously favorite dexterity weapon. Which most players will also recognize, and that is the Balder Sword. And the Balder Sword is called a Balder Swag Sword by a lot for fun. But there is a very definitive reason for it, because it is definitely a very powerful and very useful sword. It combines a very strong thrusting attack with in general just decent slash damage and a high attack speed. We get more Titanite Charge as well. Titanite Charge you always want. You can buy them in the store over at the blacksmith we're going to encounter soon. But at the same time, Titanite Charge costs a few souls, and if you can save out on having to pay for those souls, That's always a nice thing, because you will be using those shards. Believe me, you will be using a lot of them. Especially if you're starting off and not yet sure what kind of weapon you really prefer. You will be using a lot because you are going to upgrade a lot of different kind of weapons. That's why grinding in a lot of cases is not just very convenient, but almost desired. Because we're grinding mostly because we're forced to now. But especially if you want to keep the game easy, you've got to just get a bit of patience ready for yourself. You just gotta sit down, relax, and start grinding a little bit. There you go. And it will just make the game so much easier for you. I didn't want that. Parrying these guys isn't easy. They're quite quick. And these are just the Balder Sword users. The Rapier users are even worse. I really didn't like them in that regard, but I love the things that they drop. I love the fact that they have that sublime weapon. But usually you will get just the armor. It's really a shame, but if you do get the Balder Swag Sword, will your life be a lot easier suddenly. Because it is basically a hybrid. It is basically a hybrid weapon between a thrusting sword and a slashing sword. And in reality, the S-Stock is really that sword in real life. The S-Stock is the hybrid between a thrusting weapon. Gosh darn it, not again, not again! The hybrid between a thrusting sword and a slashing sword. But the Balder Sword, in my opinion, does it a bit better. There you go. There you go. That's what we wanted. I'm not sure why I had so much issues with them. Usually it's not too hard, but then again, most of the time we will not approach from that side. There you go. And there's a big guy inside of here. And I would like to beat him. But I think I'll be doing that for the next episode instead. Because we need to get to the bonfire. That is first priority right now. There you can hear it. Our big friend, the blacksmith. People need humanity. Oh, that's right. That little counter beside our health bar and besides our stamina bar, that is our humanity. And humanity is used for a lot of things. It can make sure you can reverse hollowing. And if you are reversed from hollowing, meaning you are basically normal human, we are still a hollow right now, we can kindle bonfires, and that means we get more Estus flasks from them. But in general, I like to save up on my humanity because it does something else as well, and that is it increases my item discovery chance, and that means that we are more likely to get drops we are truly wanting, like the Balder Swag Sword.
Well, I'm Andre of Astora. If you require smithing, then speak to me.
You can kill him, but I wouldn't recommend it. I really wouldn't recommend it. He's far too useful, far too important to go killing. Now we do want these things. We want the repair box. That's very important. And for now, I'll just take the weaponsmith box. Battle axe we already picked up actually. And we want. Do we want a Tower Kite shield? Do we want the Tower Kite shield? We can also pick the Caduceus, but. Because the Balder shield, or not the Balder shield, the Hollow shield is slightly heavier, I believe. Yeah, it's 0.5 points heavier. and its protection is slightly worse. So it's useful to have a Caduceus shield in the back of your hand to have them available, but generally you won't need it. If you have a Hollow Soldier shield, you will generally be alright, I guess. And I think it looks a bit better because the Tarot Kite shield and the Caduceus Kite shield are really small compared to this one. Alright. I'll repair our equipment, making sure that we will not get any issues with that, because you will. If something breaks, you lose it. You are truly completely, I believe it was then completely removed, I believe. Can't repair it anymore, it's just gone. So you always want to repair as much as you can. Just every once in a little while, make sure you check that repair menu and repair everything you have. Anyway, that has been it for this episode of Dark Souls, the 3rd episode, or yeah, we actually simply went going again. So, end of 3rd episode, and I wish you all a very nice day.